Welcome back, you beautiful souls. This is One Zerg, also known as James. I am bringing you the next installment of What If All for One was Izuku's father, the hero trap. That being said, where we last left off our series, Izuku had just had a run-in with Nejire Hado and the bunny hero Mariko. And he gained both of their quirks. Now Izuku, he now has like the bunny ears, and he also has two strands of hair that kind of roll up in spirals. Kind of, you know how All Might's hair slicks back? That's basically how his strands of hair like go, but they're like spiraled up, curly, like Nejire's hair is when she's using her quirk. So when Izuku he gets home, he opens the door, takes his shoes off, places them facing outwards, like he normally would, and he. When he gets into the living room, he kind of stops for a moment and he looks over and he just thinks, oh, damn it. Night. I froze. I could have stopped that bastard. Mom, what you made doesn't make any sense. You said find my brother. Look, I paid people to look into you. The only thing they could find about you is that you were adopted. Did you even know that? Did you even know that you were adopted? And he walks over to like the kitchen area, opens the fridge, pulls out a bento box that he had prepared the day before, heats it up in the microwave, eats. Then he leans back in his chair. He picks up the plates, basically with his sludge quirk, moves them over to the sink. And then he gets up, walks over, and proceeds to finish cleaning out like the box and like his chopsticks and everything. Puts them in the strainer, and he's just looking down. He's like, why do I have this power? Why can't I control it? As he bangs like on the counter, kind of like just, like cracking it a little bit. And now I have two more damn quirks I have to master. To mention those quirks one for all. So he walks into like his backyard. And he proceeds to think about how Nejire, to him, how he would be thinking, like, how Hado told him how her quirk works. And he proceeds to experiment for a couple more hours, just kind of blowing off his steam. Not really training like really training like he does when he's with All Might, but he activates it, like throwing punches and kicks, just kind of doing like what would be called a stretch workout. Not really a workout, but more working on like form. It's just, lightly punching, just like fast, but not like putting a lot of force in it. just really working on like the form and doing some kicks. And then and he's experimenting with like the quirk, activating it and everything. And after about an hour or two, he walks back in. Sorry about that. One moment. I'm not even going to edit that out, and I'm not going to start this over. But that's the person. Those messages are about like something else that I was asking and everything, and another suggestion that someone else made. Where were we? Oh yeah, Deku was in the back, had finished up, and he walked in, grabs a towel, wipes the sweat off of his brow. Then walks back into the kitchen, opens the fridge, and grabs a power shake, like an after workout protein. It's literally just a protein shake. And he drinks it, tosses out the garbage, walks, goes to the bathroom, and proceeds to have a hot bath. He's sitting in there, and then he kind of blacks out a little bit, and he sees the first user again, and they ask him again. See, over the past 4 months, Izuku has been having the same recurring vision with the vestiges. And at times he kind of hears them, when he was sparring with All Might with the whole think this thing. He's been having strange instances where he can swear he's hearing someone speaking, but he doesn't know what this could be. So in this little vision or dream, whatever you want to call it, Izuku is asked again, "Who are you?" repetitively, and then when he wakes up, he realizes that his hands and stuff are all wrinkly. He gets out, drains the tub, and then turns in for the night. And before he falls asleep, he's like, "What the hell is this? What's going on with the damn quirk?" All Might said he found a few things about the past users, but what could be going on? Now, many of you are probably asking, why is Izuku still staying at his house? Wasn't there a villain attack? Well, yes, but there's pros that government agents and stuff have been placed at Izuku's house because, his connection with All Might. All Might can't be there all the time. And now we're going to cut back to about 3 months prior to this. So about a month after Izuku had the incident with his mom had happened. He's talking with All Might, and he proceeds to activate Recovery Girl's quirk. And then also One for All. He does heal All Might a little bit, just ever so slight. His lungs no longer collapsed, but it's still a portion of it is missing. And afterwards, Izuku passes out like usual. When he comes to, a day had already passed. And All Might tells him, don't do that again, kid. Until we're sure that you won't hurt yourself, I don't want you even attempting it. You had a hole in your gut, thanks to that sludge quirk. Apparently, your body reformed everything. So we cut back to Izuku. In his dream, he starts seeing visions of of a man in darkness in the first user. Brother, stop! You can't keep doing this! I'm giving people a chance to be what they want, brother. People who don't want their power, they willingly give it up. And those who want it, they just have to do favors for me. But if you're speaking about the attacks, that was their own free will. And it's about time. You're disgusted with quirks and people with quirks. How does it feel to now be one? And this wakes Izuku up. And I would say this is about 3 o'clock in the morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning. 5 o'clock in the morning. A couple hours before sunrise. Izuku's in a cold sweat and he's like, what does all of this mean? Why is this happening to me? All Might always tells me when I ask him about it that it didn't happen with him. He doesn't know. Why is this happening? You haven't figured it out, have you? What? Who's there? You don't even recognize my voice, do you? Wait. How is that possible? In due time. In due time. But it's kind of funny. You were his successor in this world. Then, like, the cold presence Izuku felt disappeared. The freak is going on? So Izuku, he gets up. He proceeds to spend, like, the next several hours before school working out, just kind of running. Gets up, puts on some track clothes, and proceeds to just run and run and run. Kind of using his quirk one for all, but not really. He needs to, like, move. Like, he can't stand still. He's beginning to think that he's going mad, and when he stops running, he realizes, because he wasn't really paying attention where he was running, he realizes that he's standing in front of the hospital where his mother sat. He's like, well, since I'm here, might as well say hi to Mom before I go home and go to school. Izuku, he walks in, and one of the nurses is like, "Oh, Midoriya, you're here early." And then she really looks at him, and she kind of like politely smiles at him. No. Compassionate? No. Well, she smiles at him and says, "Couldn't sleep again, huh?" Izuku waves his hand. He's like, "Yeah, Mom's still in the room, right?" And the nurse says, "Yeah, same room. Though something weird happened last night." Izuku's eyes kind of widened, and he asks, "What happened?" "Nothing. It's just she wasn't in the same position. She was on her side when we came to look, and it looked like someone had undone, like, the back of her robe. No camera footage, nothing. We don't know, like, maybe she Izuku begins to smile and activates One for All and runs to his mother's room. And she's just laying back on her back, and his smile dissipates. Walks over to his mom and he's like, "Mom, I didn't take. I wish you were here. I could explain things. But all I could find about my family is that you were adopted. Something about Dad's past. It doesn't make sense. We can't find any. I can't find anything about his childhood, where he went to school. Well, where he went to school, it doesn't make any sense. The place closed down years ago, long before either of you were even alive. None of this makes sense. I also found out that you were adopted. Like, how did you even know that, Mom?" As he's holding his mom's hand, his watch goes off, and he looks down and he's like, "Well, I gotta get home, shower, and get ready for school, Mom. I promise. I'll figure this out, and I'll find him. I'll find my brother. I promise." So Izuku, he makes his way home, and on his way home, he sees a strange looking girl that has a crackling smile just kind of disappear like into an alley. Doesn't think too much of it, but he proceeds to get on the train, get to the train station, and go home. The whole ride home, he's just thinking, who am I? Why does he keep asking me that? Is something wrong with me? Is something wrong? Are they rejecting me? No, All Might said if they rejected me, I would have lost the quirk and it would have came back to him. From what he's been able to find. Something about Izuku's the 9. Yeah, because All Might's 8, and then there's 7 people before him that had quirks. Mine is the first user, so there's 7 quirks total. Yep. But something All Might said when he got talking to his old mentor, that Nana once said that her mentor once tried to pass the quirk on, but they got rejected. Oh, can't think of that. Gotta get showered. Whew, stink. So he gets showered. He gets to school, and Izuku is sitting down. Some kids start to bully him. Katsuki kind of just walks by and kind of nudges one of the bullies, and he's like, "Get the hell out of my way." And then he kind of looks at Izuku and just huffs, sits down at his desk. Day is decent. And then Izuku, when he's walking home, something happens. He feels weird, something's trying to burst out of him. And he can't stop it, so he runs, and he runs, and he runs. He runs past the construction site that has no one in it, and he turns around, runs back in, and he just lets it out, and all of a sudden, a plume of smoke just starts coming out of him. He's, what is this? Is this another quirk? I won't let this control me! And he's straining, veins stop popping like on his body. And Izuku sees like red lines starting to form all over his body again. And then the smoke starts receding back into it. And he fought. He passes out. Izuku, he's expecting to hit the ground, but it never happens. And then when he comes to, he looks around and he's in his bedroom? What the hell? So, that's what that quirk would have done. Keep training, kid. You're gonna need it. And Izuku shoots around, his eyes darting. And it's like, he screams out, "Who the hell are you?" Just forgotten memory. Just keep trading, kid. You're going to need it for what's to come. And then he sees it, and he dashes over, but before he can, the figure had already disappeared into the shadows. Damn it! Damn it, damn it, damn it! See, Izuku had talked to All Might about, like, this figure, like, constantly visiting or speaking to him, but before he can catch him, it just disappears. It's a guy's voice, but it's familiar, but he doesn't know where he's heard that voice from before. So, the next like month and a half of the next like several months of the 10-month training arc, Izuku, he begins to really work out like all of his new quirks. And from what All Might has been able to find, Izuku will eventually develop all of the past users' quirks. Like, he theorizes this and he tells Izuku. And just like in canon, spoilers for many of you, for those of you that are anime only, skip forward about 45 seconds from 1, 2, 3 now. Just like in canon, All Might has given Izuku like the notebook, and Izuku has read through this, and one thing is scratched out: the cause of the death of one of the past users. Many of you know what this is, and it is the dying of old age. So after, I would say this is about at the 8-month mark, when Izuku, he's gotten a handle on Black Whip. And he's realized that his emotional state is what controls, like, depending on his emotional state, how violent this quirk would be. So he's worked on that. He's worked on Nejire's quirk. And an interesting thing that happened about a month ago, Izuku had actually called her up and asked her to come by the beach on the weekend to see if she was free for a day that he can work. she can help him out with her quirk because he hasn't figured out how to fly with it yet. It's something that he wants to try to do. And when she arrives, she is awestruck. She sees Izuku on the beach sparring with All Might. She comes running over and she's like, All Might, can I have your autograph? Sorry, Izuku, but it's All Might. Izuku smiles and he's like, yeah, this is who's been training me. Because of how volatile my quirk is, And then she looks at Izuku, and then she looks at All Might, and she's like, wait, don't tell me you have his... And Izuku's like, kind of smiles a little bit, and he's like, yeah, it was similar incident, matter of fact, between us. Bald-faced lying, like, obviously. But because of how uncontrollable his copy aspect of his quirk is, he's able to get away with prying questions. And Nohara's like, wow, you're going to become an amazing hero. How many quirks do you have so far now? And All Might kind of looks at Izuku, and then he looks back at Hado, and he's like, you're Nejire-chan. Second year at UA, if I'm not mistaken. Nejire smiles, does like, yeah, and apparently, like, me and my friends have become the big three again, or the big three now, so, whatever. But you, Izuku, what did you want? So, that goes on. So now we're going to cut back to the present. Izuku, he's meeting up with All Might again. This time he's actually meeting up with All Might at his agency. Some of the people are looking at it. One of the receptionists is like, excuse me, kid, you can't go in there. And Izuku just looks at her, and then she's like, oh, sorry, Midoriya, I didn't realize it was you. Gotten taller. Last time I saw you, your ears weren't. And Izuku laughs and he's like, yeah, some things happened with another pro. All Might wanted me to stop in today. Apparently something about... Oh, that. Yeah, he wants to tell you himself. So Izuku goes in, he walks into the office, and he hears before he enters, he hears All Might speaking to someone. And he's like, you gave it to that kid. Do you even know the possibilities of that? Did you even look back who his father actually was? And All Might says, I know, I looked into it. I wasn't 100% sure until, well, yesterday. The doors fly open and Izuku's like, what, All Might? What did you find out? Izuku kind of grimacing and All Might says, I've got to go, sir. The boy just arrived. Calm down, Izuku. Like I said, I found out yesterday. Blood samples that were recovered from that day when this happened. Pulling up like his shirt. I was finally able to track down like a sample. And well, I used one of your hairs the hair that you gave me to give back the quirk. Your father. Your father's my nemesis, Izuku. Or you have some kind of familial tie to him. like you're related to All for One. That's that quirk of yours. Your Izuku then blacks out, and then when he comes to, he's in something different. All of the vestiges are clear, and they're like, Izuku, who are you? Answer me! I'm a hero, and I won't let anyone control me! And when he says that, they all disappear. He comes to. And when he comes to, All Might's holding him, and he's like, Izuku, are you okay? And he's like, you said he was unrelated to All for One somehow. Maybe that's why they keep asking me. And then passes out completely. Izuku wakes up the next day, and when he comes to, nurse comes in, and she's like, oh my god. And she walks out and makes a phone call. About an hour passes, and All Might's there. He's like, Izuku, I'm sorry, I should have told you what I was doing. No, All Might, it's fine. I think I finally grasped what's going on with me. Izuku, before I could explain, you potentially could be his son, but you said your father died, yet there's rumors going around that All for One may still be around. But what you've told me about your dad, seems like he truly did care about you and your mother. And he's like, yeah, I'm missing so much, All Might. I'm missing so much. I miss my dad. But if I'm related to All for One, what does that make me? All Might places his hand on Izuku's shoulder, and he's like, you're a hero, kid. You have the drive to do what's right, stronger than anyone that I've ever met. Our training's pretty much done. Any more quirks develop, let me know, and I'll help you out that day to kind of get a grasp on activating and deactivating it. But you have about a month left. You should work on your studies. Because unless you want to take the recommendation route, no. If I'm to become a hero, I can't ride on your curtails, All Might. I have to become a hero by my own merits. The quirk's yours, kid. Like I said, if they were rejecting you, you would have lost the quirk. Izuku smiles, and he's like, thanks, All Might. Thanks for everything. Thank you for letting me know. I'll think about it. And then before All Might leaves, he's like, I don't think you're his son, Izuku. All for One I knew. He was an evil man, didn't care about anyone but himself, and only cared about, gaining power. You're the exact opposite of that. You don't want power. for yourself. You want power so that you can save others. To prevent tragedy. So in my mind, there's no way that you could be his kid. But there's no doubt you're related to him somehow. And I'll get to the bottom of it. And I'll let you know, Izuku. I promise you that. And I'm always here for you. Just give me a call, and I'll be there. So, Izuku, he spends the next month or so studying for the written portion of the exam. And when he finishes, one moment, I'm getting a phone call. Sorry about that. It's my boss asking me if I could come in a few minutes early. So, I'm almost done with this video. So, okay, that's where we were at. Where All Might saying his goodbyes and Izuku's studying for a month. So Izuku, he's studied, he's trained more, working on it, and he's met up with Nejire over this month, kind of asking her like questions about like the exam and everything, and she says, "Well, I can't tell you that. Sorry, but I can say that I can't help you study and help you out with my court." Izuku was happy about that, so he's gained a fairly decent control over Hato's court. It's not as strong as hers, it's weak, but she said... So, sorry about that. I've actually had to cut the last minute off because I don't know where the portion would end. But Izuku, he's standing out in front of the UA, and before he could do that, he wasn't paying attention and tripped. Unlike in canon, when Izuku, before Ochako can like save him, she just sees him begin to like float. And Izuku, when he comes up, he sees the girl standing there with her hand reached out, and he jumps back from her, and she's like, "Oh, so sorry, what's wrong?" And Izuku's like, "Please, don't touch me. It's my quirk. It's dangerous, and in any case, you should get inside, and we need to do your best, okay?" Izuku walks off, leaving Ochako there, like, confused. See, Izuku, over the past month, actually started to talk with the vestiges, and he actually spoke with the first user, and they came, like, Izuku's like, "So, we're related. Huh, makes sense." Another vestige was like, "Eh." It was just smiling at him. And Izuku hasn't thought much about this, but he was thinking about it. So, just like in canon, Izuku does the practical, does like the written exam, and this is where I'm going to actually end this. I had to re-record the last couple of minutes of this so that because someone texted me and their number was showing. So, in the next episode, we'll cover the entrance exam, the practical portion, and all the way up until, hopefully, the USJ attack. This one is kind of dry, but there's a lot of information that I had to put out, and I decided to take 20 minutes of what this episode was scripted for and add it on to the last episode, so I don't have over an hour episode. That being said, comment down below what you think about this part. Like the video to help with the algorithm. And if you're a first time viewer and you enjoy the series so far, hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 10K by the end of the year. And that being said, I will see you beautiful souls in the next video.